Do you think the used car market is going to crash?
I think it already is. I think it already has started to. I mean, values are plummeting everywhere on all cars. There's so many cars available on the market. I don't know if it's going to crash per se. I think it's just going to correct more than normal because COVID spiked the value so much. So let's pretend there's a world in which COVID never happened. What would these cars be worth? I think that's what they're going to plummet to. So what a normal car would depreciate over the course of a year is now going to depreciate what it would in 3 years, I think is what's going to happen.
So what I've heard the argument that repos are increasing because a lot of people took on loans on these cars at high interest rates because they could afford it during COVID.
Right.
Things are changing, and it's easier because they're upside down on these loans just to walk away from their payment. Because you got to think of all these people that got these pickup trucks. I have to say it, $70,000. It's now worth $40,000, but their loan currently is $55,000.
Right.
They can't get out of it without paying off this loan. Where are they going to come up with $15,000? Just give the car back, get a hit on your credit, but at least at that point, you don't have to pay the $15,000.
I think that has happened across all the car market, the exotic market as well. I mean, there was so much money flowing through COVID that so many supercars, I mean, it's so easy to get financing, like I was saying earlier. There's so many guys that are upside down in certain cars. Aventadors, I'm not going to say they're like the loss leader for depreciation right now, but I bought this car for $240,000 in 2017, and I thought the car would be worth like $180,000 after 3 or 4 years. And then during COVID, this car spiked up to like $330,000, and now Aventadors, this is probably back down to like $240,000. So it's kind of like gone like this, and I think that is just going to continue dropping that way across all cars.
It's funny. I look at Facebook Marketplace probably every other day for cars. Not even in the market. I just like seeing what's for sale and then thinking, this would be kind of fun. The Bentley Bentayga is the one car that I've seen. There was one that was priced recently in the 60s.
That was like a $300,000 SUV. Insanity.
Yeah.
Bentley, Aston Martin, Maserati. You want to lose some money? Go buy a new one of those.
Why do they depreciate so much?
I think it's the clientele. Aston Martin is a weird hybrid. It's a little bit of an enthusiast brand, but also a luxury brand. But let's use Bentley as the example. Bentley is ultra luxury, right? If you're the kind of person that wants a Bentley, you're also the type of person that I think wants to have a brand new car. You don't want a used car. You don't want somebody's secondhand car. You want to spec it out. You want to be wined and dined at the Bentley dealership. So you're going to go buy a new Bentley. And I think that they depreciate on their normal trend. There's no buyer for a used Bentley Bentayga at $200,000. There's no buyer for a used Bentley Bentayga at $150,000 because the type of person who wants a Bentayga either wants it new or the type of person like, I can get a Bentley for $100,000. So I think that's why the Bentleys and the luxury cars depreciate so much. Whereas the enthusiast cars, I think they depreciate a more traditional depreciation curve.
You know, it's funny, Jack, you don't even know about this. I think about 8 months ago, I was bidding on a Bentley GT.
Oh, yeah.
Believe it or not. It was a 2006.
Why were you bidding on a Bentley?
Okay.
It was probably like $18,000.
So the story behind it, Harry, who used to service my Lotus Elise, was selling this on Bring a Trailer on behalf of his buyer, but it had no service history records. Because this guy, Harry, is like an independent guy, and it never went through the official Bentley dealership route. It was just Harry working on the car. I trust Harry completely. But because of that, a lot of people were really hesitant. Like, Harry, you've been working in this car. We've never heard of you before. I knew him. I knew the car was good. The guy who owned the Bentley, I believe, was also part of the Lotus group. So I felt super comfortable with this car. And given its lack of history through like the dealership, I was like, if this car sells at like $25,000, it's a steal. So I was bidding on the car up until I think it was like $24,500. Then Hoovie's garage.
Tyler got you, boy.
Then he started bidding it. He bid it all the way up to $30,000, which was way more. But I thought at $25,000, I could make money in this car. 100%. So I lost out on it. But at $25,000, it sold at $30,000. And Hoovie's garage bought it. And then sure enough, he made a video a few weeks later, and it was like a check engine light was on, but it turned out to be like just a fault code, and it sorted out for like $100.
Did you end up reselling the car?
No, I think he still has it.
Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, $25,000 for like a car like this, and I think it had like 30,000 miles on it. It was a great deal. You would make money on that. So I reasoned there'd be no sales tax in the car, private party. Buy the car at 25. Get to say you own a Bentley, drive it for like a year, and you could probably sell it. Worst case, 25. So you get a free car.
I always forget you guys have the sales tax, not loophole. It's legal in Nevada.
Correct.
Where you buy private party, you don't pay sales tax.
Yeah. And what's even crazier is that the registration in Las Vegas is based on the original MSRP of the car, not the sales price.
Okay.
And then they depreciate it every year up to the first 15 years. So when I got the Ford GT, there was no sales tax on that. So that saved 10% as buying it in California. And then my registration was based on the original MSRP of the car back in 2005, depreciated over 15 years. The registration on that car was $400. That's all I paid on that car.
That's insanity.
$400.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Here
It was one of the reasons I bought that car because I knew I wouldn't lose money on it. And $400 registration, everything worked out on that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wish so bad Utah. I spent so much money on sales tax. It's out of control. Out of control. Especially if you don't keep a car very long.
Yeah.
That really, really hurts.
Why
and that's
can't
the nice
you
thing
become
about
a dealer?
leasing.
Because you're buying and selling cars so often.
I've thought about it. To have a dealer, there's a little bit of paperwork, not a big deal, but you have to have a location that is zoned for a dealer. You have to have operating hours, and you truthfully have to be in the business of buying and selling cars, right? And that's just not what I do. So, I mean,
you
legally,
do though. You buy and sell more cars.
No, I know, but that's not the purpose. Like the letter of the law is that you buy a car and you get the car and you immediately you do whatever you need to do to get it prepped and ready for sale, and you are making a true and conscientious effort to actually sell the car. And I'm not doing that with a lot of cars.
But I feel like you could put every car for 10% more than what it's worth.
True.
Because there's the celebrity factor to it.
Maybe.
And
there shouldn't be.
And hey, if
I think some people would argue there's a 10% reduction because I own the car.
I don't know. I think for your audience, they'd gladly pay more for the car just because it's your car. I think it adds some allure to it. And it's a cool story. Like when you sold the Nissan, I think it's just cool to be like, hey, it was owned by TheStradman.
Right. Well, most people,
it's a story to it.
They come here to Utah and they get to see the cars, and sometimes they go for a ride in a car, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it is a fun experience from that standpoint, and most of the time they're featured in the video too, which is fun too.
Yeah,
and it's cool from my standpoint to meet everybody. But yeah, the dealer, I mean, it could be cool, but it also would be more complicated.
Okay.
It would just complicate my life, and sometimes simplicity is better than complications. But yeah, sales tax. And that's one of the reasons maybe I'd move to Nevada someday is that alone. I mean, that would save me so much money not paying tax on private party transactions.
Yeah.
Because half the cars in here I've bought private party. A lot of money.
Yeah.